Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Gunner Avenetti.
This doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I treat everyone with respect. How come it doesn't come back all the time? What am I doing wrong? Why do I keep being bullied for just being myself? And what can I do to stop it? Okay, I know. I have an idea. If people keep picking on me for being me and for doing the things I do, well then what if I change the way that I act? What if I end up stopping expressing myself? I can just keep all my thoughts to myself and just be something that I'm not. I can just blend in, and that'll just erase all those kind of challenges for my future. Right? Yeah. That sounds like a plan. Right? That's when I quickly realized I was wrong. I was very, very wrong. Ladies and gentlemen of Toastmasters, I'd like this speech to be a reflection, some words of encouragement. And these words of encouragement are a lot to do with bullying. Now, the reason why I'm talking about bullying is because I'm coming up on my deployment, and when it comes to a big turning point like a deployment, you start to look back on the major life lessons you've learned so far in life. And it just so happens that a lot of the lessons that have stood out to me as a person and the bigger challenges I've had to overcome have stemmed from bullying, overcoming negative people. Now, the hardest part for me with this was dwelling on things. And bullying, that's a big part of it. You dwell on stuff. And what I had a hard time doing was listening to my dad say things like, hey, life is 90% looking forward, 10% looking back. You keep looking at the rear view mirror of a car, eventually you're going to crash. Well, that didn't exactly work for me at first. I was becoming acclimated to thinking like that. And I'm glad I do now. But when I was first encountering it, that wasn't the case. And I think that a lot of people do struggle with that. So for my first piece of advice, and my first big life lesson I had to learn was you can't dwell on things. The more that you dwell on a feeling or a person, the stronger that feeling or person becomes. And it's really interesting when you think about it that way, because then you start to think about other things, to put your mind on other things. But how exactly do you do that? Well, that's what I want to talk about, is how I did that. I did a couple things. The first thing is I created a positive environment for myself. If you have a hobby or something you're really excited about, do it. You can help center yourself by doing hobbies. Make art, make paintings, draw cartoons, go work out, go run. My way is playing music. A lot of the negative feelings I've dealt with have been overcome by just sitting there with a guitar and just writing songs, because it's what I love to do, and it put me in a place where I wasn't making that person or that feeling stronger, because I was thinking about my guitar instead. And you can use that in so many different ways. Another big thing that I learned encountering these people was that you're going to meet a lot of people who pick on you for the way you look, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you walk, everything. They're going to find everything. And they're going to make you feel like you should be ashamed of who you are. But in reality, it's a common lesson that everybody knows. The lesson of the reason behind most bullying is because the person does not have an outlet for their anger. You gotta see that they spend most of their time focusing on taking out their anger, their negative energy on other people, putting it into other people's lives. That, there's nothing you're doing wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. They make you feel like you do. And the reason why they make you feel like you do is because, well, it makes them feel better. For them to see you go, and you're right. No, that's not cool how I do that. Why do I do that? Why do I do things like that? Why do I act this way? They want you to ask those questions. They want those thoughts to circulate in your head. And that's how they feel stronger. And what I'd like to stress to you all is never let them do that. Another bigger lesson is never change your personality in the presence of them. The second they see you walk into a room and you look worried, you look tense, you look different than usual, well then, you're giving them a sign like, hey, look, what I'm doing's working, and I'm feeling better seeing the person like that. So why don't I just keep doing that? Heck, sometimes, in some of my situations, they get a lot of other people to do that with them. Go, hey, look at this guy, doesn't he look funny when he does this? And then everyone else goes, well, I need an outlet too. Hey, yeah, there is something weird about him. They find anything. And it's all about not changing your personality in the presence of them, because that starts you off with the advantage of, hey, I'm still going to be myself. Let's say that they absolutely cannot stand it when you whistle. Walk into the room and just start whistling. I guarantee you it'll change their mind. So I'd like to end this off with, why did I talk about bullying? Because I hate the thought of it happening to anybody else, because I know what it's like. And when it comes to overcoming any challenge in life, just know that the reward on the other side, it's so great. I'm talking to you now, not being bullied anymore by anyone. And everything in my life is just going great right now, and I can't be happier. So remember that no matter what challenge you go through, what's waiting on the other side is going to really, really surprise you. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been my fourth and final speech before I deploy. This has been my reflection. Thank you.